Today on Carolina Week, the suspect from the deadly August 28th shooting on campus is back in court. Nearly 3 months later, where the investigation stands, and we take our questions to university officials.
Until we meet code by completing these requirements, there's really not much else we can do in the building.
The iconic Wilson Library is getting renovations, when it's closing, and when its historical collection is coming back. And self-defense. A first-of-its-kind class on campus is teaching students how to fight in dangerous situations, what you need to know. All this and more next on Carolina Week.
From the UNC Hussman School of Journalism and Media, connecting Carolina's campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to Carolina Week. I'm Kristen Snyder.
And I'm Lauren Lovett. Let's jump right in with an update on the deadly shooting on campus this semester. The case was back in court this week. Our Kelly Kendall shares updates from the ongoing hearing.
I was in the courtroom yesterday, and it was a very quick proceeding. The suspected shooter, who we've decided not to name, was supposed to appear in Orange County Superior Court yesterday, but his attorneys appeared on his behalf. The prosecutors said they are still waiting for a second psychiatric evaluation on the suspect. You may remember at the suspect's court appearance in September, his defense said one evaluation found he was not fit to stand trial, prompting the prosecutors to request a second. As a reminder, the suspect is charged with first-degree murder, which carries a maximum sentence of the death penalty and a minimum sentence of life in prison without parole. The prosecutors have already said that they will not be seeking the death penalty. The suspect is also charged with possession of a firearm on educational property. In the meantime, the weapon used in the shooting has still not been found, and a motive has not been established, according to UNC Media Relations. We are continuing to look into these questions, and we will bring you more on this case as it develops. Lauren?
Thank you, Kelly. Our team here at Carolina Week is digging deeper into the facts, the failures, and the future after the August 28th shooting on campus. I sat down with UNC Police Chief Brian James, and we asked specifically when we can expect more on the investigation. Here's a quick look.
When the case comes to trial or in a courtroom setting, much of that information would become discoverable at that point and available for public view.
And our Christian Phillips is in D.C. right now asking our nation's politicians the hard questions about gun violence in our country and on our campus. He joins us live right now.
Thanks, Lauren and Christian. I'm up in Washington, D.C. today asking our nation's leaders how they plan to prevent another tragedy like the one we had on campus back in August from happening again. Remember, Congress passed the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act just last year. It was the first major gun safety bill passed in decades. I spoke with someone who fought for the legislation because it's so personal, someone who unfortunately is all too familiar with gun violence. Tony Montalto is the father of Gina Montalto, who was killed in the Parkland shooting back in 2018, along with 16 others in Florida. Mr. Montalto is now the president of Stand With Parkland, advocating for safer classrooms around the country.
Because when it really comes down to it, again, we want our children and our teachers to be safe in school. We have to secure the future of this nation. And the best way to do that is make sure our students and teachers are safe.
You can see more of my interview with Mr. Montalto, as well as those with congressional leaders and my colleagues' work with university and state leaders in our year-end report airing December 6th at 11:30. Lauren, back to you.
Thanks, Christian. Like he mentioned, our special edition of Carolina Week airs on December 6th.
The nation spent time over the weekend honoring our servicemen and women for their dedication to our nation. Today, we recognize an organization that helps provide veterans with health care through physical help and creative forms of therapy, such as art and music. The Thrive program's research and solutions have supported countless veterans in Chapel Hill. Here today to discuss this program is Thrive's Executive Officer, Dr. Jason Mihalik. Thank you so much for joining us today. So my first question for you is, what makes your program unique?
It's a one-of-a-kind program. Think of, there's nothing else in the state where someone who's struggling with traumatic brain injury or post-traumatic stress disorder can go see 12 different specialists, spend an hour or more with each of them in a 3-day window. That in any other healthcare environment throughout the state, whether it's civilian or VA, would take months, if not years, to accomplish.
And how has it specifically impacted Chapel Hill?
Well, it's a program offered by the university in partnership with UNC Health, and it leverages the UNC Physician Network, which is a statewide arm of UNC Health. And it's really an opportunity for us to bring in veterans and first responders within our communities and nationally into the program, and to leverage the great work that we do here at UNC around TBI management and post-traumatic stress management, and provide that through a clinical outlet for these veterans and first responders that need our help.
Absolutely. And so how many veterans have y'all helped up to date?
Since opening our new clinical operations site in February, we've seen over 100 veterans and first responders in the program, and we are on track to see approximately 200 next calendar year.
Wow, that is truly amazing. My last question is, how is the future of Thrive going to look?
Well, Thrive is one of several programs across the country that belong to an organization called the Avalon Action Alliance. And so we're building more of these network sites throughout the country. And the goal is for Thrive to be one of many that help veterans and first responders nationally, those that are currently veterans and those that will soon be veterans, so active duty service members that are in transition.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr.
You're welcome.
Mihalik. Thank you. All right, and while the Thrive program focuses on veterans, here in Chapel Hill, the entire nation celebrated Veterans Day last Saturday. Our reporter Stephen Schlink shows us how one university just down the road is honoring veterans.
Flags and parades are signs that Veterans Day is here. And this year at Campbell University,
so far this has been one of the first big events that we've done.
meet Lauren Merchant, president of the Student Association of Military Osteopathic Physicians and Surgeons. This year, that group decided to do something special in honor of Veterans Day.
We decided to do the flags because it provided something just more personal for our students and our community.
Each flag is personalized with the name of a veteran who means a lot to a student on campus. And the project had quite a bit of participation.
We have 100 flags out right now, but about 60 people put their names of the veterans on the flags.
One of those people is Cameron Noggle, a student in the Campbell School of Medicine.
I have a lot of family members that are veterans, and then my brother is active duty right now. So I think it's important to recognize their sacrifices that they made for our country.
Noggle's grandfather served in the Marines.
This is kind of his identity as a Marine, and he sacrificed a lot.
And after hearing about Cameron's granddad, I had to talk to him. Meet Mr. John Amert.
I didn't do anything special. I was just a Marine, and I'm still a Marine.
Amert served twice with a cumulative total of 6 years in the Corps, but now he's fighting a different battle.
He has a very rare type of cancer. It's actually a childhood cancer.
I was at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and waiting for orders to go to Vietnam, and I come down pretty sick, and I was in the hospital for 3 months. And come to find out, that's probably when I got exposed to a heavy dose of the chemicals that now we're all paying the price for.
Amert is referencing findings in the 80s that the water supplying Camp Lejeune was contaminated. Since then, there have been many lawsuits as people are facing similar health issues. At first, Amert was given only 2 weeks to live, but he's tough.
It's starting to take a toll on me now. I'm laying a walker about 80 to 90% of the time, and dental and everything else but still I'm here, and I'm joining my family.
Amert says he's proud to have served, and he has this message for his fellow veterans.
Be proud of what you've done, and don't let anybody ever try to take anything away from you.
That kind of fighting spirit is certainly worthy of a personalized flag. In Fuquay-Varina, Stephen Schlink reporting.
November is National Native American Heritage Month, and there are several events being held on campus to celebrate. The Carolina Indian Circle held its annual cultural showcase on Monday, which featured a variety of speakers, traditional song and dance, and the opportunity to make a tobacco tie, which can be presented as a gift to another person. CIC Executive Treasurer Zoe Locklear says that the showcase is an opportunity to share Native American culture and traditions.
Our culture showcase is really just a time for us to celebrate Indigenous peoples, not only in the Carolinas, but all through Turtle Island, as well as educate the campus and larger Carolina community about who we are, who Indigenous peoples are.
If you couldn't make it out to the showcase, CIC is holding a benefit day at Yaya Tea until 8 p.m. today. Proceeds will go towards supporting the CIC Powwow Committee.
Martial Arts Club on campus has teamed with the community for one common goal: safety. Samantha Marles tells us how these organizations are taking their safety into their own hands.
That's why they're all here. V. Edwards is a freshman at UNC Chapel Hill, and in this new chapter of her life, one thing she worries about: safety.
I mean, they always say that if there's ever something that arises, the first thing you want to do is try and leave the situation, but if you have to, then there's ways to handle it.
Elsa Tsai organized this class, the first of its kind on campus.
As the world is getting more and more uncertain, I think it's important to have a basic idea of what to do when you're put in a shocking or scary situation.
Carolina Taekwondo collaborated with other martial arts clubs to show and teach students what each offers and how they can help keep you safe. According to this year's annual fire and safety report from UNC Police, aggravated assaults have more than doubled.
Our clubs could play a role in preparing more people for what to do in self-defense scenarios. I just wish that we could take more preventative measures as opposed to just reacting to what's been happening.
President of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Pascal Paul says she has noticed alert Carolina texts regarding assaults. She says she is glad that the university is informing students, but thinks more proactive measures should be taken, like classes like this that teaches students what to do in scary situations.
But it's also a certain level of security or safety that can help.
For V. Edwards, it's time well spent because safety, as she sees it, is always a top priority. This is Samantha Marles reporting.
And if you're looking to get involved, there are still singular events for these clubs that you can join.
We are going to take a quick break. When we return, we're talking about libraries, renovations, celebrations, and the perfect place to get a cup of joe. We'll be right back.
Even though we didn't grow up together, he's my favorite brother.
Hey, sis.
I'm the baby of the family, and he's the gentle giant.
What you know about Port Georgia?
Man, please, that's a classic.
You know when they say people are a rare breed? Yeah, he's that.
I'm sorry, I'll be back in a few hours.
Don't worry, Shug, you know I'm for you.
I know.
Go get the football.
That was my favorite memory. He was always for ya. This is a true story of me, Bridget Floyd, and this guy, George Perry Floyd Jr., my big brother.
Welcome back. November is National Novel Writing Month. The challenge brings writers together to help finish their novels. I talked to some participants about how they view the month.
The idea is that everybody has stories to tell.
That's Maya James. She works at the Chapel Hill Public Library, and she's a writer. Every November for a decade now, James has taken on the challenge of National Novel Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo as it's known.
And it's a way to empower amateur writers and professional writers to get their stories down on paper, whether or not they want to share them with anybody else.
Much of NaNoWriMo happens online, but James hosts some of the in-person events like this write-in. For 15 or 20-minute intervals, participants are silent as they try to reach their goals.
I have only, quote unquote, won by completing 50,000 words, I think twice, 3 times, maybe 3 times. So I've completely drafted two novels that I've never published.
50,000 words. That's the challenge NaNoWriMo participants have to complete. But while it might seem daunting, every year, thousands of first-timers are eager to meet their goal.
This is actually my first experience of working with NaNoWriMo.
Jenna Gatley never thought she would write a novel in just 30 days. But now, with a story in mind and the support of her community, she's giving it a try.
Writing itself, once you know what you want to write about, you get really excited and you have these bursts of energy.
If you would like to take a word count goal from the consent, you can do that or make up your own.
Now, halfway through the month, the push is on to get finished writing tens of thousands of words to tell a story, and
I would love to publish my work, but I think the more important goal for me in terms of participating in NaNoWriMo is finding a community of creative people that I can be a part of, and myself having a creative outlet.
And some news with the library even closer to home. Wilson Library will close down beginning in August of next year to undergo a 3-year renovation project. The university says the library will begin preparing for the renovations by moving all its special collections materials into storage starting in August. The special collections are used by researchers at UNC and across the state who will no longer be able to access them, but some of the collections are available online. The rest of the library will remain open to the public until the early spring 2025 semester. It will then shut down for renovations until 2027. Renovations are intended to bring the library up to safety code. They include extending sprinkler coverage, creating more emergency stairs, and upgrading the fire alarm system. University librarian Maria Estorino says there are no official plans for future renovations, but there are a lot of ideas.
There are no official plans. There are lots of dreams. Like I said, we have a lot of ideas for things we would like to see done. And frankly, we look forward to working with our campus community, our community of supporters and of users to imagine what those plans could be in the future.
The university cannot do any future renovations or add any new construction to Wilson Library until it is brought up to code.
I'm just glad I can still use Wilson Library this exam season. It is so cozy in there during the colder days. But let's check in with meteorologist Nick Boynton to see if those colder days are upon us. Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a colder day today, but we are going to be warming up here over the next couple of days. You can see here that low pressure giving us those overcast skies here today. That's going to remain constant here for the next several days, and you can even see this high pressure keeping us dry, but that rain is lurking here, and that's going to head towards us on our Friday. Right now, though, as we head out the door, 56 degrees at 12 o'clock, so it is a little bit chilly out there compared to the past few days. We warm up barely to about 59, those clouds helping us keep those temperatures down as the sunlight can't make it through. And then we'll cool off a little bit more by 6 p.m., 55 degrees, and we'll cool towards the 40s later tonight. As we see here, as we head to our cloud cover, you can see how cloudy it's going to be over the next several days here. We're socked in with clouds here for your day on Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday we'll start to see some of those breaks in the clouds, and then Sunday clearing all of that out of the way. Rainfall-wise, we do see that low pressure moving up the coast here. The scattered showers, isolated showers really I should say, for your Friday. Bring the poncho out just in case, but not everyone is going to be getting wet here on Friday. It's really just a hit or miss type of situation with isolated showers here for your Friday afternoon. How much rainfall are we looking at? Probably around 0.5, half an inch or less for most of our area. As you get closer to the coast, probably a lot more rainfall as you're closer to that low pressure system. But as for us, again, half an inch or less in isolated spots. You can see temperature-wise, we are quite warm here over the next couple of days as that cold front moves by, those southerly winds pick up, and so we're going to get much warmer, 70s probably for your next couple of days with the clouds. But then as that cold front moves in, we are going to be getting much cooler as we head towards your late weekend. You can see that high pressure billowing in after that cold front moves on by, and so colder, drier conditions here for your Sunday and into early next week. We get rid of the clouds as well, which, of course, no one likes the clouds, right? 5-day forecast showing up here. 59 degrees today, a little chilly out there, overcast for most of the day. Thursday, Friday, we remain cloudy, but warmer here with 70s, that rainfall potential also there for your Friday. Saturday and Sunday, we start to see those peaks of sunshine coming back out. And Sunday, full sunshine, but we are much cooler, back down to 59, feeling like fall time here. Kristen, Lauren, back to you guys.
Thanks, Nick. Looks like some cold weather ahead, and my go-to for warming up, a hot cup of coffee.
This philanthropic coffee shop in the public library values the 3 B's, belonging, being, and becoming. Arnelli Jaramillo Plata shares this story.
Being, belonging, and becoming are the 3 B's in B3 Coffee. As you walk through the doors of Chapel Hill Public Library, you'll see its kiosks in the lobby. Hi. B3 started 3 years ago as a pop-up by 3 UNC graduates in an occupational therapy program that wanted to destigmatize disabilities. Krista Caraway, the program coordinator, said, B3's goal is to use coffee to promote allyship and advance disability justice.
It's a nonprofit, and we provide social and vocational opportunities for members in our community with and without disabilities.
B3 provides community-based programs like Living Your Best Life and Navigating the Digital Worlds. And every Sunday, they host a social hour. Max Vernam, a member of B3 Coffee, says it's the highlight of his week.
My favorite part of B3 is going to the social hours and to see like different friends, talk to different friends, like grab coffee, like talk about like sports, because I'm a sports person. I play sports.
Lauren Davis, a Duke student in an occupational therapy program, is interning at B3 Coffee, and she says her role is very rewarding.
One person loves to write and has created her own comic books, and there's so many people who love sports, and I feel like I just learn new things every day.
Caraway even calls B3 her home.
I feel accepted, I feel appreciated, and I feel valued as a human being.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Nayeli Jaramillo Plata.
Well, Snickers says that if you are hungry, you're not you. But I will tell you, if I don't have my coffee, I'm not me. That's great. But we're taking a quick break, and when we come back, the victory bell rung this weekend after another glorious win against the Blue Devils. Sports Extra anchor Ashley Humphrey is going to give the rundown after this.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill? No. You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
The football team took down those dreaded Blue Devils this past weekend, and some of the Heels players earned accolades following the big win. Let's go to Sports Extra anchor Ashley Humphrey for more. Ashley?
Omarion Hampton is the ACC Running Back of the Week after his outstanding performance for the Tar Heels in their nail-biting double overtime win against Duke on Saturday. The unstoppable force for the Carolina offense, Hampton set a new career high of 31 carries for 169 yards, along with 8 receptions for 47 yards. Hampton scored 2 touchdowns for the Heels. This season, Hampton has a total of 1,236 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns, the 9th most rushing yards in a season by a Tar Heel. In each of the past 5 games, Hampton has rushed for more than 100 yards. Hampton needs only 18 more yards to move up to 3rd place for most rushing yards in a season. All eyes will be on Hampton to accomplish this feat as the Heels travel down to Death Valley to face Clemson on Saturday. Quarterback Drake May is a semifinalist for the 2023 Maxwell Award given to college football's best players. This is May's 2nd straight year as a Maxwell Award semifinalist, following up an impressive freshman year campaign with more than 3,000 passing yards and 21 touchdowns in 10 games. His 314 yards per game ranks 3rd in college football, and the Heels offense is top 10 in points per game. Legendary Tar Heel veteran center Armando Bacot is ACC Player of the Week for the 7th time. Bacot has been a force inside the paint. He averaged 23.5 points and 16.5 rebounds per game against Lehigh and Radford while shooting 60% from the floor. Against the Mountain Hawks, Bacot recorded the 3rd 2020 game of his career with 22 points and 20 rebounds. He also passed Tyler Hansbrough for most offensive rebounds as a Tar Heel. Bacot will look to keep up these fantastic numbers against UC Riverside in the Dean Dome on Friday night. The women's basketball team is 2-0 and currently taking on the Hampton Pirates in Carmichael Arena. This rare 11 a.m. tip-off time is for local elementary and middle school students to cheer on the Heels on their field trip day. The Heels are currently up 32-13 at half. Tune in to Sports Extra on Friday for a preview of another exciting weekend of Carolina athletics. We'll be right back.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut, the one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Today, we face an unprecedented crisis. Tens of millions of refugees have been forced from their homes. But you can make a difference. Turn disruption and despair to hope and opportunity. Even small amounts make a big difference. Provide shelter, support, or jobs in your community. The more we understand, the greater sense of belonging we create. Act now. Visit supportcrisisrelief.org.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. Our Christian Phillips and Kelly Kendall headed west for some delicious bread, and this week's covering Carolina. Take a look.
Just a few feet away from downtown Winston-Salem, you can step back in time in Old Salem.
You wouldn't believe it, but right here is one of the best bakeries in all of North Carolina. We took a visit to Winkler Bakery today, and we're going to bring you here too.
Originally built in 1799 and founded by Christian Winkler in 1807, the bakery is still selling Moravian sugar cakes and other customer favorites over 200 years later. And back in the day, the bakery had a crucial role to play in Old Salem. Sister Deborah has been helping run the bakery for the past 15 years.
Bread was the mainstay of life. Bread is what kept people in this world from starving at that time. It was harder to come by food than it is now. So the bakery was a busy part of town, and it kept people sustained. They were responsible here for baking enough bread for the entire community.
And they needed an oven capable of handling such work.
So behind me is the Beehive brick oven. It is the largest oven in Salem. It's 9 feet deep, 7 feet wide, 2 feet in the dome. And they would have come down about 3 in the morning, built a huge fire, burned it all the way to ashes, cleaned out the ashes, and you actually are baking from the heat from the bricks.
And while the baked goods are the main attraction, Sister Deborah enjoys being here for another reason.
I want to keep it alive in people's hearts and in their minds. Children coming in, you can plant a seed, even adults, and they'll go back and look it up, or they will have a memory that will last their lifetime. And at the end of the day, the time you spend and the memories you share is worth everything.
Reporting from Winkler Bakery in Old Salem, I'm Christian Phillips.
And I'm Kelly Kendall, and this is Carolina Week. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, that looked absolutely delicious, and Kelly actually told me it's made out of mashed potatoes.
That's absolutely wild, but it's honestly making me really hungry for lunch. Did you see that one video with the fire? That was super aesthetically pleasing.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week. We'll see you next time.